So, Garry Nolan has just said aliens are here 100% and that they have been here. This is crazy. Get in here. This is Jack. This is Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, this is the second time I made this video because my computer did an update and my microphone was no longer associated with my recording programs, but it didn't let me know that. So so hopefully the second time will be even better than the first. But yeah, I love Garry Nolan. He's great. And he has just said some amazing stuff in this explosive interview that's been making the rounds the last day or so. And he has said aliens are here 100%. Not only that, but we have a UFO reverse engineering program, and that a whistleblower from that program testified to Congress last week and has made huge waves. He said it had stirred the Hornet's Nest in Washington, D.C. I love it. Let's listen.
I'm curious. Do you believe that extraterrestrial intelligence has visited planet Earth?
I think you can go a step further. It hasn't just visited, it's been here a long time, and it's still here. And it has basically, people talk about the wow signal, looking for extraterrestrial intelligence. The wow signal is that people see it on an almost regular basis. That's the communication that's already here.
And that statement seems so incredible that it's tough to believe, right? Like, people hear that, and maybe a lot of people here hear that, and they don't believe it. And so I'm curious, if you had to assign a probability to that statement, that you believe extraterrestrial intelligence has visited this planet, what probability would you assign?
100%. And that's not just my opinion. I mean, look, the National Defense Appropriation Act, passed last year, signed by Biden in December. 30 pages of that is the establishment of an unidentified aerial phenomenon office, the establishment of looking into the harm that's happened to any of a number of the individuals, going back to 1945 and looking at the disinformation and misinformation that has been basically articulated over the decades. 12 U.S. senators have signed on to a document that basically says we want the information. The establishment of an office, Arrow, in the Department of Defense, has 25 people working in it right now. And what's their goal? Collecting the information across all of the U.S. Department of Defense intelligence offices, and collation of that into a uniform format for the very first time, and provision of that then to Congress, the creation of a whistleblowers program specifically that allows people from within, I'm going to say this, who've been working on the reverse engineering programs, reverse engineering of objects, so that they can come in and break their oaths, but it's specifically just to talk to Congress and give that information in classified settings. And that the most recent one that happened was just last weekend, and it created quite a hornet's nest in Washington.
Stirred the Hornet's Nest. Isn't that awesome? So I wonder what is going on in the halls of Congress. And we know this isn't the first whistleblower they've heard testimony from. They've heard some juicy stuff already from the likes of Robert Salas and others. So why didn't Kirsten Gillibrand and Senator Ernst ask Sean Kirkpatrick any questions? Well, there you go. That's the real question, right? So hopefully we'll get more answers from the House of Representatives. Next month, at least that was the proposed time. Tim Burchett is leading a independent U.A.P. hearing, and I don't know if Arrow is involved with that or Sean Kirkpatrick at all. So this could be an entirely independent U.A.P. review, but they are going to bring in pilots, military pilots that have seen these things, and for the first time, they're going to get to express their own opinions and their own experiences in an official public setting. That's going to be amazing. I think that's where the real progress lies, is in independent reviews outside of Arrow, which has been co-opted. But Yeah, anyway, that's a separate subject, kind of, but there is a hornet's nest that has been stirred in Washington, D.C. over this UFO reverse engineering whistleblower. Now, people in the know have been talking about contingency plans in case Congress didn't pony up with the goods to the public. And part of that contingency plan, possibly the main part, is for whistleblowers to come forward themselves outside of these protected private sessions with Congress. I don't think that protection applies to talking to the public. So I don't know how the whistleblower thing is going to work, this contingency plan. Maybe via indirect means like leaks and stuff. So, we'll see how that goes down. Now, Garry Nolan did have some follow-up comments today on Reddit. He says, I guess I am surprised anything I said is surprising to anyone. People have been talking about the entire matter for decades. Ross Coulthard and George Knapp have been talking about it on their shows as well as many others. Richard Dolan has written entire books about it. Conferences are held on it at U.A.P. dedicated conferences. It was probably news to many in the audience if they've ignored it on Netflix documentaries or otherwise not part of the echo chamber. We'll have to see if Congress decides to bring more information forward or context things in a way that is significant. Yeah, exactly. I'm not looking for answers from Congress, at least not the Senate. Maybe the House will be more forthcoming. Time will tell. Garry goes on to say, I personally doubt that if any public scientist gets access to the materials, it will see the light of day before much study and maybe a publication indirectly referencing it. I'd like to hope and advocate otherwise. So there you go. Garry is a public advocate for disclosure, so that's very good to know. He says, in the meantime, Avi Loeb's Galileo project is a best-of-class approach. And I have to agree, at least in part, because we can't rely on, at least the Senate. Open a question to see what the House can do. We certainly can't rely on AARO with its current head. He says that the whole point of AARO is for it not to exist. AARO has been described as a clearinghouse for U.A.P. cases, and meaning that it'll just funnel the cases off to the respective agency. And Sean Kirkpatrick said that the respective agency for ET contact would be, or ET sightings or evidence would be NASA. And NASA, the same agency that has been airbrushing UFOs out of pictures for 70 years, however long they've been around, and scrubbing them out of videos, etc. So I don't think we can rely on NASA, despite Bill Nelson's very positive words. Surely Bill Nelson has access to the good stuff. He's not disclosing the good stuff, so I'm not relying on Bill, but I appreciate his positive words and at least admitting that this is a thing. So, so we can't rely on AARO or Sean or NASA. Maybe the House, but I think the real avenue for disclosure in understanding the phenomenon at all is, through independent study and research. And that's, people like Avi Loeb. Credible people looking into this seriously with a robust budget and resources. And, I think that's the way to go. The other way to go is CE5, where individuals go out and directly interact in a peaceful, positive way with the phenomenon. Yeah, I think that that model is possibly our best bet. But in order to get there, we have to raise people's awareness and consciousness enough to where they know to do that and how to do it safely. So, anyway, I think that is our best bet, is people like Avi Loeb, as well as individuals going out and dealing with it directly and spreading the word. And that's just the way it's going to be. I also wanted to touch on what he said about the wow signal. Garry Nolan said the phenomenon itself is the wow signal. Of course, you probably know of the famous wow signal with the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, SETI. But What you may or may not know is that Grant Cameron, a very well-known UFO researcher, he has his theory of wow, and he talks about it a lot. He believes that the whole point of the phenomenon is to make people look up and go, wow, to raise people's awareness and consciousness and to expand our minds to the possibilities that exist and the greater cosmos that is out there. So I love that. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, it is true one way or another. I don't know if it's intentional or if it's an indirect benefit of the phenomenon, but it could well be intentional. It totally could be. So that seems to be Garry Nolan's mindset as well. And I find that fascinating. So, yeah, so what do you guys think? Is the phenomenon the wow signal? Does it exist to raise our awareness and our consciousness and expand our minds to the possibility? Is that why people see these crazy lights in the sky and have these experiences? Maybe some of it. Maybe some of it. I want to know your thoughts. My own thoughts are, that may be part of it, but that doesn't explain abductions and cattle mutilations and the other stuff, right? But maybe that's the positive part of it, and then there's the negative part of it. I don't know. I got nothing. Let me know your thoughts. But this is huge news. Garry Nolan saying aliens are here 100%. And also that we have a UFO reverse engineering program. I mean, of course we do. But this is Garry Nolan saying it and saying that Congress is being briefed on this and that it is shaking things up in Washington, D.C. That is huge. But will they pony up to the public? They have not so far. They have not at all. But, maybe the tide will turn. Maybe when Tim Burchett does his hearing, that will motivate Arrow and the Senate to do more. We'll see. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you've enjoyed it or got something out of it. Please smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. There's plenty of other videos on my channel for you to check out, so take your time to do that. And, this is Jack with Cosmic Roads signing out.